Welcome back, everybody. All you all who are Night Stalker fans or just casual observers, I do appreciate y'all leaving comments, subscribing, and giving me a few likes. That's cool. This is Night Stalker the Chopper. This is episode number 15 from 1975, January. I've been searching for a Night Stalker for a number of years. Finally got lucky earlier this year and got this one. Uh, like I said, this is the first because I don't have any of these. It's the first one I've ever gotten. Really tough to find these. This is just a white page script. It's not my favorite, which are the rainbow and the scripts that have the notations in them, but it's a Night Stalker script, so I'm not going to be choosy about that, and I didn't when I bid on it. So the guest actors in this episode are Larry Linville. A lot of people know him from his Major Burns from MASH. Jim Backus is also, he was a motorcycle dealer, salesman in the episode. Everybody knows him as Professor Howe from Gilligan's Island. Jay Robinson, another one. Now myself, I know this guy from the Saturday morning TV show Dr. Shrinker. When I was a kid, he played Dr. Shrinker. But before that, in the 50s, he was a major actor. He was in The Robe. He played Caligula, and he played in the sequel to that movie, Demetrius and the Gladiators. So, let me take the brads out of this thing, and we'll check it out. Okay, got the brads out of this thing. Now let's check it out. Story by Robert Zemeckis, Bob Gale, teleplay by Steve Fisher. Here's the cast list. Here are the exteriors, interior. That's the set page. Act 1. Now the music you hear is from this actual episode. So I'll give you a second to read that. Pause it if you have to. Because there are 60 pages, so I'm not going to take too long on each one of these. Just for time factor. Since this is not a read along and listen. So far I haven't had any luck doing those that are more than a half hour long. For some reason they end up getting blocked. At least all the ones I've done that were more than a half hour. Now, if you don't know, the story involves a motorcycle gang pulling a prank on one of their fellow gang members. The guy, one of them, strung a rope or something across two poles on a road, and they were supposed to knock the guy off the motorcycle. Unfortunately, they put it head high. So when he went by, it took his head off. And that's the guy who is riding around with no head, killing people, the former members. Now, like I say, this is just a plain old script, all white pages, which generally, I don't know if it said, let's see, does it say? No, it doesn't say on there. This is probably, it says right here, so I imagine this is the final revision, that's why it's all white pages. I'm sure a lot of people were big fans of this show. Like I said, even as a kid, I liked this show, even though it was kind of scary as a 8-year-old. I don't remember when it come on TV, but apparently it was before my bedtime, because I do remember watching these, a lot of them. Of course, all of them in the reruns in the mid to late 70s when they had the reruns. I know I did a script last year, I believe it was, of one of the police, I think it was Police Story, something like that, with Darren McGavin, and it was called The Ripper. And I believe it predated the first Night Stalker movie, which was called The Ripper, I believe. They did 2 movies and then they finally did the series. This is the end of Act 1. Act 2. I don't think they did music for each episode, but this is one of the ones that they did do its own music for the episode. The werewolf was another one, and the one about the swamp critter, Paramount Faye. There were probably only 2 or 3, I think. I'd have to look. But I think there was only a couple, 3 that did not have music. It was music from other ones that they put in the episode. Very similar to the way Star Trek and the rest of them did. They'd do a few episodes and then use the music over and over for the rest of that year's episodes. One of these days I will find one that is multicolored. But that might be, well, I know it's difficult because it took me long enough just to find this one. And a lot of people who collect scripts know that the multicolored ones are the hard ones to get, or the harder ones to get, and the ones who have notations in them. Usually on the ones I collect, I don't like to get the ones that are notated and are copies. I like the notated ones that are actually the original notated script, actually written, and not a copy of the notated script. I don't think I've ever seen one of these that was multicolored, but I don't remember. There is one person who has done, a few years ago, a Kolchak script on YouTube. The YouTube title for that video is The Night Stalker original script. It's the name of the person is Cynthia Boris. It was done 5 years ago. It is a multicolored script. It's called The Nightly Murders. It's about the suit of armor that belonged to the Black Knight or something like that came to life and was killing people. And it's a multicolored script, and it also belonged to one of the actors, Greg Palmer, who was in the episode as a cop. He had a couple 3 scenes in it, so that pretty much is the only one I've ever seen that was multicolored. And had, of course, notations of the guy. There wasn't really notation, it was just brackets showing the guy's part. So shout out to Cynthia. Hopefully she's seen some of my videos and my scripts. I know she collects them. I've made several comments on some of her videos and haven't heard from her, so not sure what's going on there. Maybe she doesn't go on there very often, but we are the only 2 basically who have posted any scripts of any kind, whether movie or TV, on YouTube, which is kind of cool to be one of the only two that are doing it. But I was kind of hoping that it would generate uh, more input from other script collectors, which I know are on YouTube. There has to be. But anyway, continuing on here. Into Act 2. Oh, and Larry Linville in this episode plays the police captain. There was only a few, maybe two, maybe three guys that played the police captain in the episodes that did more than one or two episodes. Larry Linville did just one, as far as I know. And I was a big fan of the guy who played Vincenzo. I always liked him on Baba Black Sheep. He was the general in that. That's another one I'd like to get a script of, Baba Black Sheep. My dad and I used to watch that every time it came out, every night. It was a good show. Now, another guy that I just happened to think of, who played one of the captains, was, I don't remember his name, Dwayne something, I believe is his name, but he played Dobie Gillis on that show back in the late 50s, early 60s, or early 60s, I believe. Dobie Gillis played the police captain. Yeah, this, I was really happy to get this because, like I said, I've been trying to get one of these scripts for a very long time. Same thing with Lost in Space. So far, no luck with Lost in Space. Any of you out there know of somebody who's got one, who wants to get rid of it, and it doesn't cost an arm or leg, let me know. Leave a comment. Leela, that's girlfriend of one of the leaders who was killed. I believe he was the gang leader. Oh, and another guy who was in this, he was one of the gang members. He played a major part. I think he was the one who actually did the stringing of the rope across the road. He played the commander, the bad guy, on the very first police academy. At least that's the last time I've seen him. Okay, we're getting there. This is the last scene with Kolchak and the guy, the leader, and of course the headless motorcycle rider. $59, and here's the last page. Kolchak throws the skull at the rider, the bike crashes, and that's the end. Hope y'all enjoyed that and had a chance to read some of it if you're interested. Like I say, let me know if you know anybody who's got a Lost in Space script. I'd like to get a hold of one of those. I've got all the other Owen Allen shows. I just do not have a Lost in Space. At least not an original. So, leave a comment, like, subscribe if you haven't. Share. I hardly mentioned that. Share with somebody who's a fan of scripts or the Night Stalker. And y'all take care.